Hello everyone, welcome. Let us see one example of mouse handling events. Okay. See, first of all, I have added one button and one text box. See, the button one's click event. This is the click event. So now let us change it to some mouse events. Okay. So if you click there, you have so many events there. So now mouse events. First one is mouse down. Mouse down. So button one's mouse down. So I'm writing text box 1 dot text equal to, so it should display the text in the text box provided there, mouse down. Okay, so if you run this program, so when you move your cursor on this button, it will show mouse down. So this is one event, mouse down event, and there is one more, mouse enter event. I'm just writing the text box 1 dot text equal to, it should show, it should display the text mouse enter event. So see, if you just click on the button, it will show the text. So there is one more, mouse over, then text box 1 dot text equal to, I'm just writing mouse over. See, if you just move your cursor on that button, then it shows mouse over. So these are all mouse handling events, example of mouse handling events. So now let us see some mouse handling events here. Handling mouse events. So you can handle mouse events such as mouse movements. See, mouse events are mouse movements in forms and controls. So there are some possible events for the control class, which is a base class for controls and forms. See, the mouse movements are mouse events. Okay. So there are some possible events here. First one is mouse down. See, happens when the mouse pointer is over the control and a mouse button is pressed. And mouse enter happens when the mouse pointer enters the control. Mouse over happens when mouse pointer hovers over the control. That means when you just move the mouse on the control. So here the control we have used in example is button. Okay. Mouse leave, you can use it to any other control like text box or label or any other control, but in our example I just used the control button. And mouse leave happens when the mouse pointer leaves the control. Mouse move happens when the mouse pointer is moved over the control. Mouse up happens when the mouse pointer is over the control and a mouse button is released. Mouse wheel happens when the mouse wheel moves while the control has focus. Okay, and here are the properties of mouse event args. Object passed to the mouse event handler. So the properties of mouse event args. Button indicates which mouse button was pressed. So maybe right button or left button, that means right click or left click. Clicks, the number of times the mouse button was pressed and released. For example, double click or single click. So if you double click, usually on your desktop, if you double click on any folder, it will be opened, isn't it? If you just click that folder, then it is selected. So this is the clicks, the number of times the mouse button was pressed and released. Delta, a signed count of the number of detents the mouse wheel has rotated. Detent is the rotation of the mouse wheel one notch. Okay. X, the x coordinate of a mouse click. Y, the y coordinate of a mouse click. So the buttons property holds one of these members of the mouse buttons enumeration. The mouse button enumeration: left, the left mouse button was pressed. Middle, the middle mouse button was pressed. None, no mouse button was pressed. Right, right mouse button was pressed. So these are all the mouse handling events. Okay. So like that, there are some keyboard handling events. Handling keyboard events. So you can handle keyboard events in forms and mini controls with these events. So these are all the keyboard events. Key down happens when a key is pressed down while the control has focus. Okay, here control is like a button or label or text box or any other control. See, when the control has focus, then if any key is pressed when a control has focus. So this is a key down event, and key press happens when a key is pressed while the control has focus. Key up happens when a key is released while the control has focus. For key down and key up events, the event handler receives an argument of type event key event args containing data related to this event. The properties. See, the properties of key event args of key down and key up events. Key event args are keyed up for key down and key up. First one is alt holds a value indicating whether the alt key is pressed. See, the alt key of your keyboard, whether the alt key of your keyboard is pressed, and control holds the value indicating whether the control key was pressed. Control key of your keyboard was pressed. Handled holds or sets a value indicating whether the event was handled, whether any event was handled. Key code holds the keyboard code for key down or key up event. So key data holds the keyboard data for key down or key up event, and the key value holds the keyboard value for a key down or key up event. And modifiers, it holds the modifier flags for a key down or key up event. Modifier flags, it indicates which modifier key was pressed. The key modifier keys are Control, Shift or Alt. Okay, so these are the modifier keys: Control, Shift, Alt. So modifiers, it holds the modifier flags for key down and key up event if these modifier keys were pressed. So shift holds a value indicating whether the shift key was pressed. And key press event. Okay, so this is for key press event, argument of type key press event args containing the key press event args properties. See, the key press event args properties for key press event is handled, gets or sets a value indicating whether the key press event was handled, and key care holds the character corresponding to the key pressed. So holds the character. Key care means the character corresponding to the key pressed, which key was pressed of a keyboard. Okay, so these are all handling keyboard events.